It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the films of September 24th, 1999. Four films to look at today, so let's just go ahead and jump on into it. We'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, Ashley Judd and Tommy Lee Jones in Double Jeopardy. So the story here is that you have Bruce Greenwood playing Nick Parsons, who appeared to be murdered by his wife Libby, played by Ashley Judd. She's tried and convicted, and 6 years later, Libby is paroled and pursued by a parole officer played by Tommy Lee Jones as she sets out to find her son and settles the score with Nick. And so the whole idea of the film is that it's supposed to be about Double Jeopardy, the thing where the whole idea of Double Jeopardy. This is probably the main reason why this movie does not work, because I can read it off of your Wikipedia, because it'll sound better coming from there, from my mouth, but according to this, the misinterpretation of the concept of double jeopardy. The film incorrectly implies that the double jeopardy clause of the Fifth Amendment gives somebody a free pass to commit a subsequent crime if they're wrongfully convicted. As the newspaper columnist Straight Dope pointed out, a crime for double jeopardy purposes consists of a specific set of facts. Change the facts and you've got a new crime. No one would believe that a person convicted of beating Richard Roe to a pulp on December 8th could avoid another conviction for tracking down poor Rich in February for wailing on him again. In the case of homicide, which cannot naturally be committed against the same person twice, it may give the impression that the first wrongful conviction would preclude a factually correct second one. Legally, this is not the case. The second prosecution can proceed in a retrial since the veracity of the original verdict is now undermined by known facts. However, murder is a state crime, so in Libby's specific case in this movie, a prosecution of her for shooting Nick in the state of Louisiana would not be precluded by her convictions for stabbing her to death in Washington. The states become separate sovereigns. I think that's pretty much everything you need to know about what's wrong with this movie. I mean, if you can't figure out what the concept of your own title is, then you shouldn't be making this movie whatsoever. And I always thought this movie was based off of a book or something, but nope. Just two guys who saw the name Double Jeopardy, thought it'd be cool, read only a Cliff Notes version about what this is, and just said, let's make a movie off of it. We don't care if we do our facts the right way. Let's make a film out of it. I mean, we got Tommy Lee Jones, we got Ashley Judd, we've got Bruce Beresford, the director of Driving Miss Daisy. I mean, we can make this work no matter what. But when you can't figure out what the meaning of the title is, that's a huge problem with this film. And you don't like anybody in this movie per se. You don't like any of the characters who are supposed to be the victims. You don't like any of the people that you're supposed to root for. You don't like anybody in this movie, shape, or form. Tommy Lee Jones is just playing another version of his character from The Fugitive and U.S. Marshals. Except those movies made him kind of a likable person that you knew that he had a job to do, and you did get along, and you did follow him along with him. You didn't look at him and go crazy, and you didn't look at him as a bad guy per se. But in here, you don't like anybody in this movie, and the script does a terrible job of trying to keep you invested in this. This is like a film that would be one of those made-for-TV movies that they would have back on TV in the late 80s and 90s. You know, that'd be the CBS Movie of the Week, but because they have an Oscar winner in Tommy Lee Jones in here, it's got to be on the big screen. They've got the director of one of the best pictures of the last couple of years, Driving Miss Daisy, so we got to put this on a big screen. Ashley Judd's a hot young star. Let's put her on the big screen. This movie clearly would not do well on the big screen. Toy boat. But what I'm trying to say, bottom line here is that this is a terrible movie, and this thing should not be shown on a big screen. This is something that should have been seen straight to TV, straight to DVD, straight to video, whatever they had back then. But because it has people who have won Oscars and people that are rising stars, we've got to put it on the big screen, and unfortunately, people ate it up. It was like Runaway Bride all over again, and Runaway Bride was a terrible movie too, and I'd say this is worse than Runaway Bride, because Runaway Bride was at least trying, but it didn't succeed. This wasn't even trying in any way, shape, or form. This is a terrible, terrible, terrible movie. Avoid this one like the plague. Double Jeopardy, avoid it like the plague, like I said. But speaking of movies you should avoid like the plague, here's Robin Williams and Jacob the Liar. How much money did they pay those critics to say that? I mean, I don't know, this might have been around the time they had that David Manning, Sony had that fake critic David Manning putting those reviews out there. I didn't see his name on there, but would you really be surprised if he didn't give this movie praise? But this film is, This is based off of a book, and it's set in the 1944 in the ghetto in German-occupied Poland during the Holocaust, and tells the story of a Polish-Jewish shoekeeper named Jacob Hyam, who attempts to raise the moral inside the ghettos by sharing encouraging rumors that he claims that he heard on a radio. It's freaking good. It's freaking Good Morning Vietnam all over again. It's Good Morning Vietnam mixed with Schindler's List, and yeah, it's a terrible movie. This is one of those other movies that Robin Williams did after he won an Oscar for Good Will Hunting, that he was trying to win another Oscar and just started a cliched riddled mess of a film. The first was Patch Adams. This is another one, and this was part of that time where this was part of that little bit of a lull between Robin Williams' between Good Will Hunting and his kind of return to form with Insomnia and 1 Hour Photo, where his career really took a nosedive, and he was just taking these really terrible movies like this to trying to get an Oscar, not another Oscar, but nothing. But Good Will Hunting won him the Oscar. He didn't have to make these movies, and this one, I will say this: it's not as bad as something like Patch Adams. Patch Adams was just a mess of a film on an emotional level, on a storytelling level. This one has an interesting story. It could maybe work, but not when you have the same guy that's pretty much doing the same thing he did in Good Morning Vietnam. I'm sorry, but that is exactly what this movie is. It's Good Will Hunting, except this takes place in the middle of the Holocaust. I mean, like, it just doesn't work. It's not a good movie, and Robin Williams does not have that accent to make this work. You see Alan Arkin in there, you see Liev Schreiber, Bob Balaban. Great cast overall, but there's nothing good that comes out of this movie whatsoever. Everybody is just yucking it up to try to get an Oscar nomination, and it did the exact opposite. He got a nomination for the Razzie Awards that year. So that should pretty much tell you that nobody really cared about this movie, and nobody really wanted to see this. And yeah, I've got nothing else to say about this one. This is a terrible, terrible movie. Again, avoid this one like the plague. So can we finally turn us around with our next movie, Mumford? Let's see if we can do that. Nope. This is a boring ass film. You have a small town with a new psychiatrist played by Lauren Dean, because they were trying to make him a big name. Billy Bathgate back almost 10 years prior to this, and apparently he had the benefit of starring in some films such as Apollo 13 and How to Make an American Quit. Well, I guess that kind of gave him a little bit of a push in his career, but he's given offbeat advice to the neurotic residents. Both the psychiatrist and the town are also named Mumford. A coincidence that eventually figures into the plot. You also have Hope Davis, Jason Lee, Alfred Woodard, Mary McDonnell, Martin Short, David Paymer, Ted Danson. Zooey Deschanel makes her film debut in this. But other than that, though, this is a pretty boring film. I mean, this is just like, imagine if they tried to do Dr. Katz in real life, except you don't have as many interesting stories going on, and it's not animated like Dr. Katz is, and not funny. That's exactly what this movie is. This is a bland, boring movie that has nothing about it whatsoever. And it's another one of those movies that has those insane budgets, like $28 million. Where the hell did you spend $28 million on this movie? And sadly, this was the point where Lawrence Kasdan, who had started his career off on a high note, writing the Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Empire Strikes Back, directing Body Heat, The Big Chill. His career really took a nosedive starting with this film, and then after this he did Dreamcatcher, and then he never really rebounded after that. And it's a shame, because he's a good director, but man, this is a boring movie. You need to have something to make this stand out more, but all this movie has is, oh, look at these different celebrities you know. Look at these different celebrities. Hey, there's Sam from Cheers. There's Earl from My Name is Earl. You know, like all these different people. If they had a point to them, give them something to do, maybe you could have something here, but you expect more from Lawrence Kasdan. You expect more from the people involved in here. It's a boring movie, man. This is just a mess of a film, and I think I pretty much said everything that needs to be said about this one. So that's Mumford, and this is a pretty rotten week, because our last film is Dennis Rodman in Simon Says. Yeah, this was pretty much the end of Dennis Rodman's action film era that he was in at that point. He plays an Interpol agent named Simon who goes on a mission in France to save a kidnapped girl and defeats an arms dealer. Gee, haven't heard that story done before. But don't worry, because we have cybermonks in here, one of them played by John Panette, and Dane Cook is his sidekick, and get the hell out of here. No, seriously, get the hell out of here. That would have been me if I heard this pitch. It was just like, we're not making this movie. But, this film was made mostly because the NBA was on lockout in 1998, which means that all the basketball players that had to do something else, unfortunately, because of that was going on, and they didn't play again until January of '99. So Dennis Rodman made this and basically said the work stoppages had temporarily put on hold Rodman's commitments to the league. So he said that he'll do this film, but this is another one of those stupid movies. This is a movie that you've seen done to death. If Dane Cook is your sidekick in this movie, in an action film like this, and you're supposed to be taken as seriously as this movie wants you to make him be like, it's not going to work. Like, you're not Brian Bosworth. When Brian Bosworth made Stone Cold is a terrible movie, but that's a film that knew it was so bad it's good. It's one of those guilty pleasure movies that, like, Brian Bosworth is not that great of an action star, but he was one of the. But that movie was really, really stupid, but fun. Stupid, good fun, I should say. This is just stupid. This is just stupid. It's not even fun. Like, yeah, everyone says, hey, the cybermonks are pretty cool, but listen to what you just said. Cybermonks. I mean, I'm just kind of ranting. I'm just kind of rambling on here because really, this is not a good movie. I keep hearing people talking about this as a so bad it's good type of film, but no, this is just a so bad it's bad movie. Like, Speed 2 is a so bad it's good movie. The first Space Jam is a so bad it's good movie. Stone Cold is a so bad it's good movie. This is one of those movies that's just flat out terrible right from the get-go. It was clearly made because Dennis Rodman didn't have anything else to do because he couldn't play basketball. So not a good week for the movies this week as we wrap it up with Simon Says. But we do at least turn it around with the next episode we do. Next weekend's movies are much better than the ones we had to look at this week. So tomorrow we'll take a look at he's probably the best movie of this pack here. George Clooney, Mark Wahlberg, and Ice Cube, and David O. Russell's Three Kings. We also have Melissa Joan Hart and Adrienne Grenier from Entourage and Drive Me Crazy, The Adventures of Elmo and Grouchland, and Jay Roach's Mystery Alaska, a movie that you probably didn't even know that the director of Austin Powers made, but that's one of the movies we'll look at next time. So 4 films to look at next time. Hopefully surely on a much better note than what we had to deal with today, but thank you for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So with that said, I am off. I will see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.